algorithms, for real. Several months after I found out my husband had repeatedly been unfaithful, I still didn't know whether I'd stay or go. I didn't even know if the new pillow on my couch would stay or go. I was a terribly indecisive woman. When I told the counselor at my kids' school how uncertain I felt, she said, "It's not hard decisions that mess up kids, it's indecision. Your kids need to know which way this is going to go." I said, "Well, they can't know until I know." She said, "You need to figure out how to know." Back then, the only way I knew how to know was to poll and research. I began polling. I called each of my friends, hoping they would know what I should do. Next, I began research. I read every article I could find about infidelity, divorce, and children, hoping that the experts would know what I should do. My polling and research results were maddeningly inconclusive. Finally, I turned to the World Wide Web to see if an invisible conglomeration of strangers, trolls, and bots knew what I should do with my one wild and precious life. That is how I found myself in bed at 3 a.m., shoveling Ben & Jerry's into my mouth, typing into the Google search bar, "What should I do if my husband is a cheater, but also an amazing dad?" I had to underline one of my words that stop me, stumble me. I go and look them up and come back. So I'll be back. My 17-year-old son gatherings. My 17-year-old son Chase and his friends are in the family room watching a movie. I've been trying to leave them alone, but it's hard for me. I understand that most teenagers think their moms are uncool, but I am certain that I am the exception. I stand at the door and peek inside. The boys are draped all over the couch. The girls have arranged themselves in tiny, tidy, roly-poly piles on the floor. My young daughters are perched at the feet of the older girls, quietly worshiping. My son looks over at me and half smiles. "Hi, Mom." I need an excuse to be there, so I ask, "Anybody hungry?" What comes next seems to unfold in slow motion. Every single boy keeps his eyes on the TV and says, "Yes." The girls are silent at first, then each girl diverts her eyes from the television screen and scans the faces of the other girls. Each looks to a friend's face to discover if she herself is hungry. Some kind of telepathy is happening. Some kind of telepathy is happening among them. They are polling. They are researching. They are gathering consistence, permissions, or denial. Somehow the collective silently appoints a French-braided, freckle-nosed spokesgirl. She looks away from the faces of her friends and over at me. She smiles politely and says, "We're fine, thank you." The boys looked inside themselves. The girls looked outside themselves. We forgot how to know when we learned how to please. This is why we live hungry. Rules. My friend Ashley took her first hot yoga class recently. She walked into the room, unrolled her mat, sat down, and waited for something to happen. It was exceptionally hot in there, she told me. When the instructor, young and confident, finally walked into the room, Ashley was already dripping with sweat. The instructor announced, "We'll start soon. You're going to get very hot, but you can't leave this room. No matter how you begin to feel, stay strong. Don't leave. This is the work." The class got started, and a few minutes in, the walls began to close in on Ashley. She felt lightheaded and sick. Each breath became harder and harder to come by. Twice her vision became spotty, then briefly went black. She looked at the door and felt desperate to run toward it. She spent 90 minutes terrified, close to hyperventilating, holding back tears, but she did not leave that room. The moment the instructor entered the class and opened the door, Ashley jumped off of her mat and ran into the hallway. She kept her hand over her mouth until she found the bathroom. She threw the door open and vomited all over the sink, the wall, the floor. While she was on her hands and knees wiping up her own puke with paper towels, she thought, "What is wrong with me? Why did I stay and suffer?" The door wasn't even locked. Dragons. When I was a little girl, my godmother gave me a snow globe as a birthday gift. I love snow globes. It was small and round like a palm-sized crystal ball. In its center stood a red dragon with sparkly scales, bright green eyes, and fiery wings. When I first took it home, I put it on the nightstand beside my bed. Then I lie awake at night, wide-eyed, feeling afraid that the dragon existed so close to me in the dark. So one night I climbed out of my bed, moved the snow globe to the highest shelf in my room. Every once in a while, only in the light of day, I pull my desk chair over, climb up, and pull the snow globe off the shelf. I shake it still and watch the snowflakes swirl. As they begin to settle, the fiery red dragon in the center of the globe would emerge, and I feel a chilly thrill. That dragon was magical and scary, always there, unmoving, just waiting. Let's take a deep breath. Release our me. I am thankful for fears as they awaken me to me. My friend Megan is 5 years sober now after a decade of alcohol and drug abuse. Lately, she's been trying to figure out what happened to her, how addiction had taken over her life, how addiction had taken over the life of such a strong woman. On Megan's wedding day, she sat in the back of the chapel knowing she didn't want to marry the man waiting for her at the end of the aisle. She knew it from her roots. She married him anyway because she was 35 years old and getting married was what she was supposed to do. She married him anyway because there were so many people she would have disappointed if she had called it off. There was only one of her, so she disappointed herself instead. She said, "I do," while her inside said, "I don't." And then she spent the next decade trying not to know what she knew, that she had betrayed herself and that her life would not really begin until she stopped betraying herself. The only way not to know was to get wasted and stay that way. So she started drinking heavily during her honeymoon. The drunker she became, the more distance she felt from the dragon inside her. After a while, the booze and the drugs became her problem, which was convenient because she didn't have to deal with her real problem anymore. We're like snow globes. We spend all of our time, energy, words, money creating a flurry, trying not to know, making sure that the snow doesn't settle so we never have to face the fiery truth inside of us, solid and unmoving. The relationship is over. The wine is winning. The pills aren't for back pain anymore. He's never coming back. That book won't write itself. The move is only the way. The move is the only way. Quitting this job will save my life. It is abuse. You never grieved him. It's been 6 months since we made love. Spending a lifetime hating her is no life at all. We keep ourselves shaken up because there are dragons in our center. One night, back when my children were babies, I was reading a book of poetry in the bathtub. I came across a poem called A Secret Life about deep secrets and how we all have them. I thought, well, I haven't had one since I got sober. I don't keep secrets anymore. That felt good, but then I read. It becomes what you'd most protect. If the government said you can protect one thing, all else is ours. It's what radiates and what can hurt if you get too close to it. I'm going to read that again. It becomes what you'd most protect. If the government said you can protect one thing, all else is ours. It's what radiates and what can hurt if you get too close to it. I stopped reading and thought, oh wait, there's one thing I haven't even told my sister. My secret that radiates is that I find women infinitely more compelling and attractive than men. My secret is my suspicion that I was made to make love to a woman and cuddle with a woman and rely on a woman and live and die with a woman. My secret is my suspicion that I was made to make love to a woman and cuddle with a woman and rely on a woman and live and die with a woman. Then I thought, so odd, that cannot be real. You've got a husband and 3 children. Your life is more than good enough. As I climbed out of the tub and shook my hair dry, I told myself, maybe in a different life. Isn't that interesting? As if I had more than one. It's so important that we speak our truth, live our truth, love our truth, embrace our truth, accept our truth, know our truth, be our truth. My love note to myself today is Quanjilium Je la vie. When I love it, I live it. I love me, so I choose to live me freely, wholly, untamed, uncaged, unlocked, untied, out of control. Me. Free is what I choose to be. Quanjilium Je la vie. When I live it, I love it. And Gwendolyn is helping me to remember why I am who I am as I unfolded my sexuality, similar to Gwendolyn, because I was told one thing, I lived one thing. I married when I heard no inside of me. I said yes. I betrayed myself. It was easier to betray me than all of those people that had set up and spent their money and came in town. And it was easier to say yes to them and no to me, because back then I lived a selfless life. I was full of them and less of me. So I was selfless. Less me, full of them. Now I'm self-full. I am full of me. I am more than enough, a divine, brave majesty. I am untamed, uncut, untied. I am freed. I have freed the warrior. I heal thyself, healthy self. I listen. Our vessels echo. Free self. Listen within. Trust you.